Hi, I'm Kevin Finch, director of Westbound, The Genius of Wes Montgomery. One of the things we covered in the film was the controversy about Wes's later recordings. Were they selling out? Was it too over-orchestrated? Pat Metheny, the great 20-time Grammy-winning jazz guitar player and huge Wes Montgomery fan, has some interesting thoughts on that, as well as what it was like when he got to meet his hero, Wes Montgomery.
Those records to me, the A&M CTI records or whatever you want to call them, to me it's like whenever I hear somebody put those records down, I can guarantee that person has no idea what they're talking about. Because it's like such a thing, like if you're missing how he plays the melody to Georgia, if you're not really getting how heavy that is, then you're not really somebody who I'm going to really think, wow, this guy, he knows what he's talking about. Because that's heavy, man. And I mean, if I have to pick my favorite track of Wes's, which is really hard, it's a toss-up between If You Could See Me Now and Smoking at the Half Note. And also Down Here on the Ground. April of 1968, he played Kansas City Jazz Festival, and it was a big deal. In every possible way. He was at his absolute peak at that point.
Sure was.
And, you know, I would have been 13, would turn 14 later that summer. Heavy year, 1968, in a lot of ways. Heavy time in Kansas City right then. And he played with Buddy, Billy Hart, Monk. And I think it was Buddy. Somebody said it was Harold Mayburn, but I'm pretty sure it was Buddy.
If my Uncle Monk was in it,
yeah,
it was Uncle Buddy.
Yeah, that's what I thought
they
too.
They would never play when they played, they wouldn't leave one out.
Yeah,
they would
that's what I thought too. And then somebody recently said it was Harold Mayburn. I was like, I don't think so. But I mean, I was 13 too. I'd only been playing for like a year. He was already my hero. And you know, the Kansas City Jazz Festival was at the Municipal Auditorium, this huge place where the Ice Capades would come and all that stuff. And there was like no security. So I just walked right backstage, and he was standing there with his guitar on his foot with this brown suit. And talking to Clark Terry, who was also a favorite of my family because of the trumpet thing. And they were laughing because they were buddies and stuff. And I just, you know, walked up. It's like, you know, can I get your autograph? And he was like super nice, like, sure. And he signed the program for me. And, you know, I just kind of stood there, kind of like, you know, probably with my mouth open, like also looking at the guitar, which was like, you know, the whole, all of it to me was like Steven Spielberg, golden lighting, you know, it was, well, and also he had a thing, man. I mean, it was like, you know, this was like, you know, like a, you know, just a figure that was larger than life in a lot of ways. And I mean, certainly to me, but it seemed like it was that, you know, it was like, this is like somebody.
Like I feel when I met you.
Well, I don't know about that, but anyway, for me, it was really something. And of course, you know, I stayed and watched the set, and it was incredible. You know, it was like going out of my head and that stuff, except they would stretch out on it for like 20 minutes, you know, on the vamps and stuff. And it was incredible, man. And I mean, the place, Kansas City was, especially during that period, a really great listening town. You know, it wasn't that kind of listening where everybody's reverent. It's like when everybody's screaming and yelling and stuff, standing up on top of their chairs, and it was that. I mean, he just whipped the place into a frenzy. The thing, the subtext of it is that this is just right after the riots in Kansas City. And it was tense in town. Man, he like was this bomb. He like, he just chilled the whole thing out. And I mean, you know, it was like a really mixed crowd, as his thing was, you know, everybody loved him. Yeah, I mean, I read some of those liner notes and I'm like, what are you even talking about? You know, the thing, I mean, one of my real like things, pet peeves, was this thing of like people saying, well, he was self-taught.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean he was self-taught? Almost like, it was like, wow, he's like some, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so advanced harmonically.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like he's just playing like a blues scale. I mean, it's like deep in the chords. And I mean, it only reveals that the person that's writing stuff like that has no idea what they're talking about.
Right.
And there's even that interview where the guy is saying, well, how do you think you might have played if you did have a teacher?
Yeah.
To which I could see Wes going like,
I have no idea. What are you talking about?
yeah, I mean, it's like as if,
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of that. And then again, the thumb thing. Okay, great. I mean, Charlie Christian played with his thumb. It's like, cool, great.
And you know how he got the thumb thing?
I read the liner notes, but those liner notes are the same ones that said he was
My
self-taught.
mom.
I know. Is that true?
It's true.
Yeah, the thumb thing, which is a distinctive, absolute, sort of trademark. I mean, he could put TM after thumb,
Yeah.
right? And the other part of that is it really is the best sound. I mean, it just, you kind of can't lose if you play with your thumb. You can play any guitar, any amp, and it's just going to have a great sound. I mean, it's really the best way to do it in a lot of ways. What's notable is, but nobody else can do that now, because if you do, you sound like Wes. And it's kind of created a little bit of a paradox almost, because it's sort of like, that's the best way to get a good sound.
Yeah.
But I mean, kind of no matter what you do, if you play with your thumb, it's going to have that quality. There were some significant aspects to what he brought to the instrument that a lot of people, I think, were going for, and many successfully. He got to something in terms of also groove and rhythm and feel that, I don't know quite why, is a little elusive on the instrument. I think that, when you play guitar, there's sort of three things, if you're playing with a pick, that have to work together. You got this, you've got this, and then if you're playing with a pick, you've got that. Yeah. So you kind of have to coordinate these things. By playing with his thumb, he eliminated one of them, which I kind of feel like brings him one step like closer to the immediate thing, like what a saxophone or a trumpet is. But beyond that, I mean, he just had like just the greatest feel. I mean, he could get in there with Jimmy Cobb and with Paul Chambers in ways that were at the same level as Miles or Train.
Great stuff from Pat Metheny, a very thoughtful man who believes in his own music, believes in jazz, and is a huge fan of Wes Montgomery. We thank him for his time, and hope you enjoyed this episode of Further Westbound. There are many more, and if you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. For Further Westbound, I'm Kevin Finch.